Fade it down. Fade it down. Hey everybody, welcome to On Cinema, Tim Heidecker's podcast that covers the world of cinema. And this week we will be talking about the films of James Bond, the top 5 James Bond movies, and there's quite a few of them. My name's Gregg Turkington. I'm normally the guest on the show, but this week we're turning things around, having a little bit of fun with it. And I'm here to talk to you about the top James Bond films of all time, the top 5. And my host, or guest, or, I guess host, the guy who owns the machinery is none other than Tim Heidecker. Tim, good to see you back, and glad we're back talking about movies.
Hey, everybody.
So, have you seen a lot of these James Bond movies?
No.
Well, I have. I've seen them all, and multiple times in some cases. And let's sort of run through them and discuss our favorites, what we like about them, and what we don't like about them.
Okay.
I'm going to go not in any particular order, but I'm going to deal with 5 that I feel if you have to start somewhere, these would be the 5 to start with. First, I would say Die Another Day. This one was an exceptional movie. It's a classic. Pierce Brosnan plays Bond and does a terrific job. Takes place in Hong Kong and Cuba. And as always, some beautiful women, some fancy gadgets, and a lot of thrills from beginning to end. I truly recommend Die Another Day.
And what's the next one?
The next one on my list is The World Is Not Enough, which, again, Pierce Brosnan is masterful as James Bond, 007. And there's an underwater finale in this one that is, I don't want to give it away, but it's mind-blowing. If you like underwater chase scenes and that type of thing, boats. This is a pretty genuine James Bond classic, and if you haven't seen it, I believe it's available on DVD as part of either the James Bond Classic Box Set or buy it individually, but it's definitely one you need to check out. Tim, what are your feelings about this one?
I haven't. Which one was that?
The World Is Not Enough.
No, I haven't seen that one. I saw the one with James Bond with Sean Connery with the.
Those are good too.
Yeah, keep naming them because I.
Well, the next one on my list, and it's hard to make this list. I want to add. These are all great movies, and to go through and pick just 5 is tough. But we had to do it for this podcast, so we don't have time to go through them all, unfortunately. But one of the ones that I love the most, and I'm sure you love the most too, is The Spy Who Loved Me with Roger Moore. And this one takes place in Europe. They go to Egypt. Barbara Bach is in the movie, who's beautiful eye candy for all the guys out there. And it's just a very exciting film. It really has everything going for it. The credit sequence is amazing. The theme song is great. Barbara Bach is definitely one of the most beautiful of the Bond girls. And Roger Moore is arguably the ultimate James Bond. So you will want to see The Spy Who Loved Me from 1977. It's a very memorable film. Tim, what did you think of it?
Never saw it.
Okay, well...
2 more to go.
Now you have a chance.
2 more to go.
My next film on our look back at the films of Ian Fleming's James Bond, 007, is Tomorrow Never Dies. Did you see this one? Pierce Brosnan.
Wasn't that? Did you mention that one already?
No, I didn't. And it
was the first one.
It would be
what
on.
What was the first one you mentioned?
The first one was not Tomorrow Never Dies. The first one was Die Another Day.
Oh,
so it's a pretty different film. This one involves a Chinese criminal who's trying to destroy the world, and of course, 007 is always going to be the man to stop crooks from destroying the world, and that's why we love him so much, and that's why we love this movie. And if you haven't seen it, now's your chance. Tomorrow Never Dies.
And the number 1?
Well, these aren't in any order. These are my top 5, though.
Oh, okay.
And the next one on the list is none other than The Living Daylights. And this one's got Timothy Dalton as Bond. And I think Dalton did a great job as James Bond, maybe a little bit underrated even. he definitely brings the suave, smooth, debonair Bond into focus, and I kind of like that, and I kind of like the film too. So if you have a chance, do check out The Living Daylights, one of our top 5 James Bond movies of all time. And that should do it. That should wrap it up. Again, if you have a chance to see any of these Bond movies, you're going to enjoy them. These are the 5 that I particularly enjoyed, and I would love to hear from you if anyone has any disagreement or has any Bond movies that they want to fight for. That's always going to be a fun fight. So for On Cinema, thanks for tuning in to our tribute to James Bond.
Make something about the website.
And the website is onscinemapodcast.com. And from there you can view or listen to any of our past episodes. We've got 40 episodes in the can, plenty more on the way. We're getting back into the movie format that we sort of got away from. And it's going to be a good season this year. A lot of good movies coming out. We'll be there to cover them and to talk about old movies, favorite movies, movies you may have missed, overlooked movies, and movies that you just didn't like, and you want to know that you don't like them so you don't make the mistake of watching them, and we're always here to help you out with that. So grab a bucket of popcorn, fasten your seatbelt. On Cinema is back.
Thank the guest.
I'd like to thank, it's kind of funny, I'd like to thank the host, the creator of the show. Tim Heidecker has done a great job with this show, and we'll be back in the director's chair, as we call it, with the next episode of On Cinema, covering new movies and old movies and movies all the time on cinema with your host, Tim Heidecker. Tim, thanks for giving me the opportunity to sit in the director's chair and talk about the great films of James Bond, and I hope that the listeners enjoyed this.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they enjoyed this one. We'll see what they have to say.
And that was On Cinema, and tune in next week when we will be talking about some new movies and some old movies. On Cinema, your friend in the movie seat.
If you ever listen to the show, I usually end with thanks for listening. So,
What?
say you say.
Oh, well, I did say that. I thanked everyone for listening.
Just say thanks for listening.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening to On Cinema, the podcast that covers movies and more. Hopefully a little less of the more, a little more of the movies. And tune in next week when we'll be looking at, hopefully, the films of Peter Sellers and the Pink Panther. On Cinema, thanking you for tuning in.